Today I'm in Elko, Nevada, just outside the convention center with about 5,000 other people to see 50 poets and performers here at the 32nd National Cowboy Poetry Gathering. And you, my friend, have a front row seat. Hats, chaps, cowboy boots, and a way of life. At first glance, cowboys and poetry might not go hand in hand. But what more could inspire art than the simple life at the ranch? Long days tending the cattle, longer nights by the campfire, and cowboys filled with tales, folk songs, and of course, poetry.
Well, it was a cold, rainy day on the dark Kansas plains. My fingers grown numb as I grabbed for the reins. When I put foot to stirrup, he snorted and blew. As I swung in the saddle, right away I knew that I'd ride this old horse until his days were through.
Every January for the past 32 years, the campfire gives way to center stage at the National Cowboy Poetry Gathering, where cowboys open their souls to an audience of 5,000 people.
On one side, the sun is rising. Just ahead there sets the moon. Shadows high trot there beside you, elongated, keeping pace, reassuring you ain't hobbled by restricted time or space. Out in front, the boss is posted to the same beat as his song, and the realization hits you. You're right where you belong.
This is Waddy Mitchell. He's not only a local boy here in Elko, but he also helped establish this gathering. Waddy, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to me today.
Well, thank you guys for taking the time to get up here to see some of the fun.
You ate your breakfast by the Coleman, then hurried round to beat the sun.
Born and raised in northern Nevada, Waddy helped organize the first Cowboy Poetry Gathering back in 1985. Today, he shares the stage with 48 other artists from the United States and Canada.
During their pay, they'll choke in crazy traffic jams, fight for seats on bus or train. It's a wonder that this ritual doesn't drive them all insane. We too, I guess, commute to work as the job at hand dictates, but we commune while we're commuting. What a difference that makes.
This might be my new best friend, I'm telling you. What was it like when you first helped establish this?
I had never been to a festival, so I wouldn't know what a successful festival was. What I was hoping is that it was going to get a bunch of my cowpuncher friends in town. We was going to have a big party. And it turned out that it was a big party, but a big party like we hadn't imagined.
When you look out at your audience and you see this sea of faces, what do you see? What are you looking at?
I see one of the few places you see nothing but friends. If I could pick up this audience and take it with me on my other 200 shows a year, I would be tickled death, because you can't do anything wrong in front of this crowd because they are so with you. They want you to succeed. They want to drink in the whole atmosphere. They want to drink in the attitude. They want to drink in the good feelings that everybody's exuding. And that's why on Sunday morning when they're all going home, it's all going around like we just come out of a tour of duty and hug each other and just, look forward to the next time.
It's a drastic situation.
An essential part of the gathering, Waddy is also no stranger to outdoor Nevada. He was part of the original series back in the 90s when we first came across his talent.
Good. He said, God, if you help me now, I'll quit my sinful ways. I'll do the things you'd have me do. I'll work hard all my days. I'll quit the booze and cigarettes. I'll help my loving wife. I'll spend time with my children. I'll turn around my life. I'll work to help the needy. I promised to repent. Just then a tree limb caught his coat and stopped his fast descent. And while hanging from the tree that grew out on that rocky shelf, he looked skyward, saying, never mind, I handled it myself.
At the end of the day, why do you do it?
Because I love it. And I love the other people that do it. So this is like a bowling team. We don't care who wins. We all just come out here to bowl.
Whether the poetry comes as a song, a rhyme, or heartfelt spoken words. Artists find here an opportunity to celebrate the West and its traditions.
This is Doris Daly, and she has been to a lot of these gatherings, and she knows a lot about what's going on around here. Doris, so nice to see you today.
Very nice to be seen. Here in Elko.
About how many of these have you been to?
I think I've been to 10 or 11 in the last 16 years or so.
Born a Western writer, Doris has been nominated twice as the top female cowboy poet in North America.
Well, I've been doing poetry since I was 8 years old in 3rd grade, and I lived in the East for a time, moved back to Alberta, my home province, moved back to ranching country, and went to my very first cowboy poetry gathering in 90 or 91, and I found my tribe of people who loved words, loved rhymes, loved the West.
What people should know about this, if they've never been, is that this isn't people dressing up in costumes. This is the real deal.
We are all real deal people. We're ranching people, ranch hands, ranchers' daughters, farm wives, and we bring our own stories from where we live.
This is Doris's 12th performance at the gathering.
And what do you hope that the audience takes from your performance today?
You know, I don't think people should overthink what cowboy poetry is all about. I think they should allow their imaginations to be freed up, and maybe they're going to go home with a memory of their kitchen party back on the plains of North Dakota, or maybe a poem they memorized at their grandpa's knee, a tear or a laugh. Let the poetry take you to some cosmic place.
Shania has a perfume, you can get it on CD. Light and luscious florals with a hint of fleur-de-lis. A musky blend of blossoms with a whiff of clover honey. In case her up goes down, she'll still enjoy the smell of money.
Over the years, the National Cowboy Poetry Gathering became more than a festival. It's a place to reunite with friends and fellow lovers of the cowboy way of life, its music and poetry.
John, how many times have you come to this cowboy gathering?
Oh, goodness. It's been probably 23, 24 times we've been here.
Why do you come?
There's many reasons. It's number one, it's of course for the poetry and the music. It's incredible entertainers and it's a lot of fun. But it's also kind of a reunion where I get to catch up with some of those performers and entertainers. But also I get to see a lot of people that are in the same industry that I am, in the ranching industry, that all come for this as well.
Integrity is obsolete. Overkill is now the craze. One can't even trust the weatherman on the local news these days. You ask what is the problem? Well, I'd say the main detractor is a careless, irresponsible use of that hateful windshield factor. See, the factor was invented by someone who supposed we should know the rate of freezing when bare skin is exposed. This should not concern us, and I'll explain the reason why. It's because nudists in the winter are in fairly short supply.
What do people need to know about this event?
The Cowboy Poetry Gathering is truly one of the most authentically wonderful events that we hold in Nevada, or I think is held throughout the western United States. It's a wonderful combination of these truly authentic ranchers and cowboys and how they express their lives through the poetry and the music of the area. But then it's also a chance for those of us who don't get to live that life to really take on this persona of the rancher and this really simple yet romantic notion that we have of the American West. So not only do we get to see this wonderful entertainment and this wonderful artistry, but we kind of get to play a character ourselves and get into this whole Western theme. So that's what makes this so rich and wonderful.
Alone ain't just an empty field from no one else around. Can be a stretch of prairie grass that covers miles of ground. When you look across the prairie at horizons far and unknown, you're looking straight at country somewhere beyond the lone.
This is an opportunity to get back to your original roots. This all kind of comes from the heart. And at the end of the day, if you spend 2 or 3 days listening to all the various performers, the poetry, the humor, the sadness of the tales, it makes you want to go back to earlier days and bring you back to your roots.
Organized by the Western Folklife Center, the gathering is a stamp of Nevada's culture. You can't come to the gathering here in Elko without hearing the words, "How Cannon." That name is synonymous with this whole event, and I just happen to have him right here. Hal, nice to see you.
Hey, John.
Hal started this festival with Waddy. He's a legend around these parts who helped marry cowboys and poetry. So, what were you thinking all those years ago when this first was born?
Oh, you know, going to college, I suffered through a lot of poetry classes, and poetry was sort of like a double-edged sword. I read stuff and it just moved me. I just thought, oh my gosh, this is the essence of life. And I came out and I met cowboys that recited these old poems or wrote new poems, and they had soul, and they had what they were listening to was the sound of the earth, and it came out in their poetry. And I just said, you know, we have to share this with the world. It's just, we have to do that.
How did cowboys and poetry intersect?
The perception was that cowboys were inarticulate, they were laconic, they didn't say much, yes ma'am, no ma'am. But the fact is that there's always been a very strong poetic tradition worldwide in this kind of lifestyle. We've brought cowboys from Mongolia. We brought gauchos from South America. They walk in the room, and all of a sudden, the American cowboys and the Mongolians recognize each other.
For somebody that's never been, it's not just people up reading from a book or soulless. There's music as well. Tell me about that.
Well, first of all, most of the poets know their stuff by heart, so they can put their soul into it. They're not tied to the written page. So it's not like a poetry reading generally. I mean, sometimes that happens, but not that often. But there's a lot of music here. A lot of people writing songs. I brought my band for the first time this year. My name tag says artist instead of organizer, and that's what I've been angling towards for 32 years.
Hal plays alongside Greg Istok and Eli Rankle. Together, they form the Three Hat Trio.
These cowboys taught me, you know, be bold. Go out there and express yourself. Be creative. And so we've been writing songs. What we're doing is what we call American desert music. So it's very atmospheric. You know, when you start listening to us, you almost hear the mirages.
Okay, so now going back, you're thinking, I'm going to get a group together and we're going to do this. Did you know that it would turn into this thing 32, 33 years later?
No clue. I mean, we thought we were doing a one-time event.
You hit a nerve. What do you think that nerve or that need was that you were fulfilling?
You know, I think in this really flighty world, we need grounding. And this lifestyle, this poetry, this music, it's grounded in a certain way. It's born out of the environment, the life, the relationship with animals. It's something that is very powerful and underappreciated.
I did not know if you'd ever come my way.
More than poetry, this festival tells a story. The story of cold winters and hard-working people. The story of a state that thrives under unforgiving conditions and takes pride in life's simplest things, just like a poem.
And here we are today. Here we are today.
When you come here to Elko and you come to the National Cowboy Poetry Gathering, you learn real quick that this is much more than what it appears. It's not just about music and poetry and cowboys, but it's a gathering of a very open and welcoming family whose main goal is to pass along tradition, history, and culture. And that's a great thing.